Hello. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Party Wipe episode 37, where we make a roguelike deck builder in Godot. How's it going, y'all? I'm gonna change the music. Hey, Lost Sleep Games. Let everyone do it. Sorry, I said, how's everyone doing? My voice like gave out at the end of that. Hey, Jacob. How's it going, everybody? Let's get it going here. We have a lot to do. I think this week is the week of actions. Getting actions all sorted out so that our player characters, well, player characters is a long word, so that our characters can, you know, take actions on the board. Let alone enemy actions, which is going to be a whole thing. OSG, you're doing well. You had a very successful level design stream last night. Oh, hell yeah. That's great. I was supposed to do a lot of work last night. I didn't end up doing most of it. I ended up redesigning the equipment and the character sheets a little bit to line them up a little better. That's what I did yesterday. I appreciate everyone, you know, hanging out and not being too upset that we canceled Saturday. Oh, I added this. So there's an end turn confirmation screen. I added this over the weekend. Since it seems crucial, you can say, yeah, next turn, or you can say go back. And it blocks input on the rest of the screen, which is nice. And you can just be like, don't ever show me this again. So you can record that. So you can be like, don't ask. But yeah, if we get our character in here. So I flipped things around a little bit. I also flipped them around on the roster tab a little bit. So now the character portrait's on the right, level is on the left, which is a little better because the level is shorter on the left than the right, so it's a little nicer there. But the reason I did that is because I wanted to move the icon. So I can move the level thing over to the left side so that the equipment sheet could be lined up similarly. So I flipped everything around a little bit. I moved the act listing down here. It's not a button anymore, so it'll just say, this is a dash, which is just the default entry. So we can still have maximum space for keywords, for item keywords and description. I don't know how I'm going to assemble them. Clearly there's going to be like a list of keywords, but I'll need to come up with some kind of parser that's able to assemble them in a way that makes sense. We're also going to need some kind of scrollable thing here, just in case it's longer than this. But yeah, I moved everything around so that it's a little more consistent. I could have flipped it around the other way. I actually don't know why I didn't do that. There isn't really a good reason. So I might flip it back, but I guess I like this better. I like how it is on the roster tab better. But yeah, we really need to sort out how to describe equipment actions. There's a little more dead space on the character sheet now. I got rid of the name field. Like this used to say like Joffrey or whatever. I got rid of that. I don't know if I'm going to do something else with it eventually. It feels a little awkward, this empty space. There isn't quite enough room for something like equipment or anything, but maybe we'll figure something out. Hey, Nanigans. How's it going? So yeah, what we really need is we need to be able to... So we can move, which is great. But we also need to be able to act. I actually don't think this should default to something. Pardon me. Of course, I don't have any allergies until I start streaming. So I'm not sure how we're gonna have this thing be playable in the next, let's see how long. In the next 4 weeks. I don't see how that's possible, but we're gonna do our best here. We're gonna do our best. Because there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done. We need to be able to execute actions. We need at least a rudimentary AI that can do the same thing. That's probably where most of the work is. We need a basic progression so we can at least move from room to room. The initial build will probably just literally be a series of combat encounters. And probably until you die, like just a randomized series of combat encounters or something. I should probably do a to-do list, but I've been really bad about that lately. Yeah, what we really need to do is we need to get it such that you can take actions and not just move. Why did I flip this? Well, I guess I did it for the sake of the tab, which is better. It is better. I still don't know if I love the value box. Hey, LSG with a 5-stream streak. That's great. Nannigan's not too bad. Bit of a crunch week. You had a 5-day weekend. Ooh. Yeah, it can be tough to squeeze all that work in there. Shareholders are waiting. They are. Looks like it's coming, starting to come along. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it, right? The UI is really polished, which is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's nice. So we need to be able to go into an action state. These are toggles, huh? Interesting. I think what I want to do is I want to hook these up so that you can actually select your character, which should probably be auto-selected when the turn counter ticks over. Like when it's your character's turn, it'll probably get auto-selected. Yeah, I actually really don't like this new version of the character sheet for some reason. This big bar of empty space is kind of bothering me a little bit. I do like the extra room for the name, especially when it's a 2-line name, like the Plague Doctor or something. I gotta figure out something to do here. I guess I could just have made it empty space here for the equipment. I'll keep fiddling with that. But yeah, we really need to start encoding actions into these items. Encoding action characteristics. So that the chip maul would do like bludgeoning damage. This shield could like bash and like move a unit backwards 1 or something like that. We also need to start coming up with unit abilities that we could use in these ability slots as they level up. So yeah, there's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. Not quite sure where I want to start. I kind of want to rearrange the scenes for progression. Hey, Sapphire. How's it going? How was your stream? Sorry I came on so late. I don't think we overlapped at all. Yeah, I kind of want to rewrite these scene progressions so that we're in the right spot. I kind of want to rewrite the scene so that it's correct in terms of like not our little excuse me, not our little sandbox here. I kind of want to rewrite it so that it's correct. Even if we just end up back here, I want to at least sort out some things like first turn unit placement. I want to start working on the actual progression of things as the player will experience them, because that's kind of been my guiding light this whole time, and we've kind of reached the end of what we can do in a sandbox. Because like I could hook these buttons up to the one unit that we can play right now, but that's not quite right. The deployment moves aren't quite right. Nothing's quite right because this is just a sandbox without context. But there is stuff to do if we're going to do that. I guess I could cut some stuff out. Like, the initial scene I want you to have puts you into a tavern and you, like, select your characters. And then maybe your party appears around a table or something like that. And the tavern keeper, like, gives you your initial quest, which you can, like, accept or decline. If you accept, you start to delve into the dungeon. If you decline, you flee the tavern and try to escape the area, essentially. In that kind of, D&D undermining the intent of the DM kind of thing. Hey, Arneo. You got a bit written down for your next project? Your smaller, more achievable project? You're probably gonna have to work on your notes for the game more off stream. Maybe we'll get more written down better. Yeah, writing has been an issue for me so far. I've done very little writing for this project, and I probably need to do some more. How's it going, Arneo? Congrats on your release, on your initial release for your game. That's great. I'll try to give it a try at some point. So, I think I want to work on cards, which is like a very unsexy thing to do on stream, which I feel like will be a little boring, but I really want to start working on the full card set. I have an idea. Oh, let me run this by you all while I've got you here. So I've been thinking about card suits, because like most of the cards, I just have to run this again so I can show the cards. Most of the cards don't have a type, like a suit to them, right? Like they're just gauntlets. And if you have the armor proficiency that can wield a gauntlet, you can wield a gauntlet, right? Like there's nothing special about that or fancy. But there are cards that are going to require a specific character, specifically the ability cards, right? So like only the wizard can use Fireball. There's a question about whether you would want to have abilities that are generic that any character could use. I don't think so. I could see a world where we have those, but I do not. Since you've been watching the stream, you believe you've released one game to Dave's 3. That the jams do not count. Jam games do not count. I have released 0 games. Let's be very clear. Let's be very clear about what I've done, which is nothing. Releasing jam games is addictive, though. I wish I was able to do jams. I got a lot of FOMO from GMTK and solo dev. It seems like a great time right now for jams. So what do I want to do? I want to show you this mock-up I made. Oh my glob. Sapphire Starship on a 160 stream streak. Let me just confirm how many streams I generally have in a year. Right here. 260 about. Only 100 more. And that's an overcount because that assumes that I do 5 streams a week, which I do not. That's wild. Huge, huge. I can just give you a shout out, I guess. There's no reason I can't, even though everyone here already knows you. I just want to celebrate. And you do stream now. Appreciate you. But yeah, let's look at this card. Let me know what you think. This is like, so I've taken like the character sprite and I've done like a card suit, a card back thing. I don't know what the legibility is going to be, but I hope it's going to be good enough that you kind of get that this is a knight card. Like, obviously there will be text and stuff. I'm thinking about something like this. I kind of like it. I've done it in such a way where it like matches the color of whatever card. I think it's all right. I think I'm going to do this for ability cards. And it works upside down. Yeah, I think that's a greedy thing that I've done with my cards, is the upside down thing. I could definitely have used the upside down part of the cards to give you more information about them. I think we'll end up just doing it with tooltips instead. But yeah, hopefully this is cool. So the idea to distinguish between the different classes, it's just a way of showing you like if you let's say the only knight's ability I've settled on is the knight's move. But let's say you draw, like, the knight's move, and, like, it's in the name, so you know. But what if it wasn't? What if there was, like, another knight card called, like, I don't know. I don't know. The Honorable Duel or something like that, where you can, like, or maybe the knight has another ability called Single Combat, where he can, like, challenge an enemy to single combat and, like, force them to fight him. You might not necessarily know which class single combat ability is for. And so I wanted some way to illustrate on the card. I probably will still have a tooltip that shows like what class it's for, but like I thought it would be kind of cool if I could squeeze some of that info into the card back, or card front as it were. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I don't think it's perfect, but I kind of like it. No, you don't need to notify anybody. Twitch notifications are weird. You did post in the Discord, though, so, you know, it's on Nanigans not to be watching the Discord. But yeah, I kind of like this. I kind of like this. I need to write some abilities. Yeah, you did everything you needed to do. So yeah, we kind of need to have just a scene progression that makes more sense. And I don't quite know how I'm going to represent this in terms of scene progressions. So I need to settle on that too, I guess, a little bit. I kind of want to make more cards is what I kind of want to do. And I kind of want to fix my card system, my card like representation, because our card representation has a lot of UIDs, and I basically the first thing I want to do is take all the UIDs out so that it's more swappable. I want more of these like enum values, either lists or individual. Because there's a lot of this stuff that's not... Like, if we normalize this database, a lot of this needs to go. I feel like the knight should pop a little more. I think the problem with that, Arneo, is there's going to be text over this. So we might get it to pop a little more, but I need to see it in action with the text before I can really settle on that. But it's pretty easy. We're basically setting this with like characteristics. Like I can make it stronger, I can make it weaker. I've kind of just set it to split 50% for now, but yeah, we can tweak it. I want it to be consistent with the colors. I don't want it to have its own color set, but we can make it pop a little more. It's supposed to just be a subtle hint to the player. Yeah, the text, I'm worried about the text being unreadable. But we'll see. Mess around with it. But yeah, I kind of want to fix this. So this might be a very unsexy stream where I work on spreadsheets. Because yeah, we have these anti-res things here, and I really don't want that. But there's not much I can do unless I make that card identity thing. I still really don't like that you can only tell what a card is by a combination of its name and its level. I think I need a card index, like unique, like a unique card index field. I think I need to have it. Unless I want to form something to form a unique ID, which I really don't. I really don't want that. I also don't want to have to manually set this, but, you know, it could be worse. Could be worse. Card index is really rough because of the possibility of mods messing that up. I guess you would need to say what card set it's part of and the card index, but again, now we're back to a compound key. So I don't love that either. So I'm not quite sure how I want to uniquely identify these cards, because right now it's name combined with level. Yeah, I kind of want to make the rest of the party, because we've got the knight, and I kind of want to make the bard and the ranger and the wizard so that we can start testing these things together in a more realistic environment. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure how I want to identify the cards. Let me look at how we have it set up here. So what we have right now is we have a card catalog that gets filled by the card manager. I guess there is a card index that I could work with. Also, why are there only 48 cards? I thought there would be more. It's a little weird. We also have card sets, which I think is weird as well. So the hero card set, an armor card set, and a weapon card set. I should probably call them base or something like that so that you could have like an added card set. You know, I guess the built-in resources don't really matter. I do want to be able to point to the resources, but it would be okay to like overwrite them. So maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe I don't actually need to do that for that purpose. I guess I could build an ID that's the combination of those fields and have that somewhere. But I also have to think about how I'm going to store card actions. I've started thinking about it, but I'm not very far along with it yet, which is a problem. Which is a problem for sure. So I've got my card sets here. What is this even? Oh, I have a class for this. Do I? Okay. That's a base card set. It shouldn't be a base card set. It should just be a card set. Where do I store card sets? Is the question for me here. Card sets. Default. Okay, so I have default. Rename that base. Did that break anything? No. And I have this base card set class. This is really not how it should be. It should just be card set. So we need the file path, the file schema, and the res script. This is the card set. And these are the 4 different ones. Oops, I'm going to rename these. Just so if we have expansions or mods or whatever, we can make a difference. We make a distinction. We're also going to want an ability card set, which I haven't started working on, but I will need to. Ability cards. Shenanigans, you've somewhat, for at least for now, moved away from making your custom tools to just doing custom resources in Godot. You think for your own sanity, when it comes to making all your units, classes, spells, etc., you need a better way of making and maintaining it than directly in Godot or resorting to spreadsheets. Yeah, I don't know. What did you think of that whole like YAML for like custom managing like custom classes? That whole talk. I haven't seen the talk, but I think you shared it. Do you think that's a worthy approach? Yeah, that's part of the reason why I want to move away from this UID system. I don't want to have to enter the UID for anything, really. I want it to be a series of lookups. And then those sets can reference other things. Like what I should do is I should have... I should have a way of indirectly referencing them, like a base hero card set. This should probably have its own list of things. Like it should have like a card icons dictionary, and it should have an enum probably too. And in fact, what this should do is these should actually be different things. So like this should actually be, like this resource should actually be, I have a card set, should actually create a new script here that extends from card set. Call it like hero card set. That actually kind of sucks. Can you do something like this? Is this So how do I want to do this? How do I want to do this? How do I want to represent things like, oh, you have a set number of card icons, like you have resources associated with your cards. How can I do that? So we have a card set script. You're going to be using YAML as your data format for those. You'll be making a better UI and tools for creating, managing, and comparing things. You're making your game in Godot, but you're not using GDScript. You're not doing the Godot way of doing a lot of things. So you're using C#, Lua, YAML, SQLite. Yeah. All right. See you, Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out. I don't know how I want to do this. I wanted something simple so that I can define a lot of it separately in like a spreadsheet, but I'm trying to reference the actual resources of things. And I need that to be a lookup somewhere else. But I need to define what those things are. And I wanted to do it in a way that was kind of generic so that I could take on new card sets. I can't really do it with an enum. So I guess it needs to be something a little more generic, like I could do things like I could create lists of resources. This doesn't work the way I think it does. Or this isn't going to work the way I would want it to, because I wanted to try making a way of taking in new card sets that doesn't require you to really dig into the Godot stuff. But I don't think that's super doable. I think I need to look at Resource Loader and Resource Saver. What's the difference between loader and format loader? It uses the many resource format loader classes registered in the engine. Yeah, easy. Written the format engine. You have to import the files into the engine first. If you want to load images at runtime, you may use image.load. If you want to import audio files, use the snippet. Okay, so we can't really use resource loader for this. We would need to use something like image.load. May not work in exported projects. Yeah, I think what I want to do here is going to be really hard. Or it's not obvious how you would do it. To me. It's not obvious to me. The fact that it may not work in exported projects is a problem. Data structure planning is hard for you. It's mostly hard to maintain interest with stuff. You're going to have to at some point. Yeah, I just wanted to do this in a way that was like open to modding and was flexible. Oh, that's why I called it a base card set. I guess I will go back to doing that. Who cares? Yeah, I'm just going to accept that the way this is being done is really only going to work for the base cards. We're just going to offload the responsibility to figure out how modding and stuff would work later. It's just not it's not worth trying to figure out now. Not when we're on such a tight schedule. But I do want references to... Okay, so the base card sets are defined in Engine, so this is where I could do things like I could refer to different resources. Can I do like an abstract enum? What's an export enum? I don't know what that is. So we'd say like an abstract enum, and we'd say like card res sets or something like that. Abstract cannot be applied to an enum. That's fine. Yeah, it's not a concern at the moment. Okay, but I still don't like the thing that I'm doing here, which is defining UIDs in the card spreadsheet. I still absolutely don't want to do this. But it would probably be better Probably be better to do it differently. And I don't think I can do enums. Because I can't have the enums be like an exported value or anything. So I'll probably just have like a dictionary or something. I'll probably have a list of string names. And then a dictionary that uses those string names. That's not great. It's not particularly great. Because I don't want to... This is going to get out of hand really quickly. All this shit. And some of this is like everyone is using the same boot icon. Every single person. It's like... I want to normalize my data here a little bit before I start going ham and making like a ton of this stuff. And that's what I'm working on. That's what I'm working on because I'm afraid of working on anything else. Load all card resources from a folder, index a string as the name into a dictionary, and then you can use that string in your spreadsheet for the lookup. That's probably what I have to do. I still don't see how that would work from like the standpoint of like, oh, I want to load this mod that has its like own card images or its own icons and stuff. But that's not going to really work anyway, so it's fine. We can figure out a way to make that work later on, maybe. Too nerdy nerds. All right, forget this. Hide the code. Hide the spreadsheets. Welcome in, nerds. Raid alert. Spreadsheets. Yeah, we're working on cards. I'm afraid of working on something else. How's it going? How are things? Thanks for coming in. B Studios. Skimnator. Who is Tobias? It's always the question. Thank you, nerds. How are things? How is the reclaiming of the living going? Too warm to work? Yeah, I feel that. Well, I don't literally feel that. We're supposed to get some nicer weather here towards the weekend, but still pretty reasonable. Yeah, we're looking okay. We've kind of reached what I consider the end of this sandbox phase of what I can do here. We're really trying to work out cards and card actions. We have movement, so we can move characters around. The movements has a cost. Our undo redo is looking great. Oh, I crashed. Turn get cards at... Oh, no. Did I... I've been messing around with card types, and I might have just cleared a dictionary. Might have cleared a dictionary. On accident. An exported dictionary. Looks okay. Looks okay so far. I don't know why that failed. But yeah, we're doing all right. Get card res, out of bounds, get index 0 on base array. Base card res. Yeah, I broke something. Star Trek SFX? Oh, yeah. You know it. Sishamara. Oh, the file path is probably wrong for one thing. No. Card catalog might be broken. Might be broken a little bit. Let's try it again. So you're handling the cards from a sheet instead of in Godot. Consider that too, but you never really tried it. Yeah, I run into some awkwardness, which we're trying to work on. crashed last time. Well, whatever crashed, it's not happening now. Yeah, this is a roguelike deck builder where you draft an RPG party and you level them up. You level up the members of your party and their equipment by playing duplicate cards. So we leveled this knight up to level 2 by playing another knight card. Yeah, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to move away from what I've currently got here. It didn't happen again. I think it's because I broke the class and fixed it, but I didn't reload the script. Yeah. Yeah, the thing I don't like right now is I've got a lot of UIDs plugged in here. So I'm trying to switch to kind of more of a lookup situation. I'm trying to normalize my data a little bit because there's already like too many fields in here and it's going to get worse. And I just can't. I can't with this just endless set of UIDs. I much prefer this kind of a system where we're like invoking like an enum or something like an enum. This is for like armor and weapon proficiencies. And so I'm looking to switch over to that sort of thing. I was trying to do it in a way that would be like mod friendly, but I'm running into issues with especially like things like loading textures or resources. So I think we're gonna back burner that part and just try to get these swapped out. Part of the reason why you stuck with the resources in Godot, it has its own downsides. Yeah, I knew from at least balance reasons I was gonna want this in a spreadsheet so that I could be like, oh, I want all of the knight cards to be, I think their attack is too high, or I think their defense is too low, or like I could go into the weapons and be like, I think all blunt weapons are too powerful, or yeah, I wanted that. So that's why I did it, but it's a little rough. It's a little rough. I'm looking forward. Yeah, I'm trying to look forward to that part because there's going to be a lot of cards. This is a handful of weapons just for an armor, like just for the knight. And the knight is one of like 15 characters. So I need to implement all the gear and abilities for 4 characters to start. That's our demo character list. It's going to be the bard, the knight, the ranger, and the wizard. So, and that's only like a quarter of the game. And it feels like it's gonna be a lot. But yeah, I need to maintain a list of resources if we already have resources that represent these cards. Part of that is I need to come up with so I guess that simplifies my problem in the sense of I did not want to do a card index. But now I might. Because right now the unique ID for a card is the combination of its level and its name. Which is kind of awful. And I was like, well, I could just do a card index that's unique. And it's like, yeah, I could, but then like, what about mods and stuff? So since I've decided I'm not going to support modding right now, because that's a future day problem. Let's just add a card index and then just make life easy for us. Sheets makes this even easier for us here. I'm actually gonna hate this, aren't I? I just do an index per set? I should probably do an index per set. But then I have a compound lookup again. Whatever. We're not going to do card index. Card index would hurt. Card index would hurt me in the long run. I'm just going to accept that it's a compound key for now. What I really don't want to do is make like a card ID class that's literal job is to just compare multiple fields, but I might do it, honestly. Might do it. Have a great day. Yeah, no, go sit in front of the AC. Go cool off. Thank you for the raid. Thanks for coming in, raiders. I guess I should work on something more interesting. What I want to do is get actions going, but to get actions going, I really need something that's not this sandbox. We need to actually be going through the turn order and actually supporting that. Because this is just a little testing sandbox for things, and it's fine to move around. But this is like a turn-based tactics phase of the game, so it will be one character at a time going, like friendly character, then maybe enemy, then another friendly, then maybe a couple enemies. Like we're gonna interleave the initiative, the turn orders, so that we'll probably have each group roll their own initiative and then interleave them, and then use their initiative for like tie breaking or something. Just so we don't have this thing where it's like all the friendlies go and then all the enemies. We want kind of a back and forth so that we can do cool stuff like, oh, if there's a skeleton that goes next, you can see what the skeleton's going to do. They're going to like try to kill the bard. And it's like, but it's the knight's turn. So maybe the knight can either get in front of the bard so that the skeleton has to attack the bard, or maybe the knight can kill the skeleton. Or maybe I have an armored card that I can equip the bard with that will like raise their defense so they don't die. Or maybe, yeah, stuff like that. And that'll be a back and forth of like, we go, then they go. Friendly goes, enemy goes. But I really need that to be in the proper scene and not just a sandbox. So I wanted to make more cards. I wanted to make the rest of the cards because right now I just have night cards. I wanted to make some more cards, and I wanted to rebuild the scene with that flow in mind. And so I really just kind of wanted to work out some of the card resource stuff today, because that's going to be an important part of it. If I'm going to make the actual flow of the sequence of events that the player encounters at the beginning of the game, I need more cards to do it, so that I can actually populate things like the turn order and stuff like that. It also means I need to make some enemy cards, which I haven't thought about yet. So that's fun too. Guess I should add that to my list here. I don't think enemies are going to have equipment, which is going to be interesting. So enemies will be like fully embedded. Like enemies will have abilities and stats and stuff like that, but it's all going to be fully embedded into the one card. They're not going to have like different equipment layouts, because I feel like that's asking too much of the player. I think it's fine to ask the player to like manage their own equipment, because that's the game. And I think it's fine to show them, you know, their gear list. Like, this is their gear list, all of these icons and stuff. And they got to manage that. But I don't think you want to be able to be like, oh, this is the skeleton that has a great axe versus this is the skeleton that has like a chainmail shirt. I think that's too much. I think it's good enough to be like, oh, this is a skeleton warrior. They have 3 attack and 2 defense, and I know what to do. I know that I need to get my level 2 spear so that I can kill them in one shot or something like that. Hey, Boolean. How's it going? How's the side project going? I think we both started a side project like the same time. based on the number of days that it seems like you've worked on it. We're working on some card resource stuff so that I can start representing card actions, so that I can start empowering the characters to do things based on which equipment they have selected. And to do that, I'm doing a little bit of cleanup with our card data representation. All right, so what we're going to do, this is the base card set. So what we're going to do is we are going to make some more card set scripts. So we're going to say something like, instead of base card set, I'm going to have a hero card set. And that is going to extend. So we'll say class name, hero, card set, extends. Card set. Then we'll add an enum here that will be hero types then we can have things like Bard, Knight, Ranger, Wizard. I don't think I need the equal, yeah. And we can define some enums for this stuff. Should this be plural? I guess this shouldn't be her plural. Yeah, it can be plural. I guess they could all be called card types. I don't like that. Let's say hero types. It's going nicely? Nice, nice. Game design is weird because it's all about making the player do tedious things for fun and then creating fail states to punish them for mistakes. Yeah, the friction is the game, right? It's a delicate balance. It's like you want stuff that's fun to do that they got to do. But you don't want just friction for friction's sake. Okay, so this has a hero type, so we're gonna rename this base hero card set. CSV file schema mismatch. That's not surprising, actually. But that's unfortunate. That means our card data is kind of corrupted now, but that's fine. So we've got all of this. This needs to be... I need to swap this script to be the hero card set. And then that should have an additional value that I can set here. I don't know why it doesn't. It should. Is this not something I can change easily? Should I have changed the type? No, that's not an option. Where's my... Oh, it needs to be an export enum is what it... Oh, no. Oh, no, I can't set it. It just exists, right? So what we then do here is we say export variable. We could say... We can't have this in the base card set then. That's frustrating. Actually, can we do this? Can we say enum card types and just have an empty enum? And then can we overwrite the enum in the hero card? Can we do this? Because this might actually work. It already exists, so you can't overwrite an enum. I guess that makes sense. It's a little disappointing. All right, we're back from ads. Welcome back. Thanks for hanging out. I know this is a pretty slow day in terms of what we're doing, but wouldn't that be cool if you could? Wouldn't it? Because I would like for the base card set to know about this enum, even if I can't define it there, but we'll just do it like this then. And then we'll say export variable. We can say hero icons. Make it a dictionary. Make it a dictionary of hero types. And should this... Do I not know how to name enums? Should enums be named like... camel case? There we go. And then Pascal. What is the difference between Pascal and camel case? Oh, camel starts with a small letter. That's right. That's right. Pascal starts with a capital letter. Okay. If you need to overwrite enums, doesn't it just make more sense to use a dictionary? Probably. Let me think about that for a second. Well, the problem is, then how do I have my hero icons dictionary, whose key is another dictionary's value? So that feels tougher to do. But I don't doubt that it could be done. So we'd say hero types here, and then we would say texture 2D. I'm just trying to embed some of these resources here. You know, maybe this is the wrong approach. Maybe this is the wrong approach. Because what if I did want to have different icons for characters at different levels? I don't currently, but what if I, like, change my mind about that? I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. Keep the key, nested dictionary. Hey, Fox Shadow. It's good to see you. How are you doing? Yeah, a nested dictionary is what I could do, but is that what I want to do? I guess I could do that, couldn't I? I could do that. Enum is compile time validation. If you're leaving it open to being extended, then you need to check if the key exists anyway. Your key is just a string, and then validate to check if that string exists. Yeah. Good, doing good to us. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm definitely behind on this project in terms of getting something playable up. I'm trying to clean up some of my card data. Right now, we like directly invoke UIDs, and so I'm trying to get away from that, and I'm trying to do more of like a normalized kind of lookup thing. So like, right now I'm like setting it so we could pick a card icon based on something else. Like you really just need one piece of information, like the card name. Here, that's all you need to know this, but there's more complexity later in terms of like knowing. I wanted to do this in a way that was mod friendly, but I'm realizing it's like not happening. Yeah, we're making a card game. I don't know the last time you popped in here, but we're working on like a roguelike deck builder kind of card game. This might crash. Seemingly not. So before we get too deep into it, I'm trying to like work on the card stuff. Yeah, this is where the whole I don't have like a comp science background comes into play, where I'm like struggling to think about data structures. If you're leaving it open to being extended, I want to, but the problem is I don't know how to actually accommodate that. You need to check if the key exists anyway. Yeah, I guess we could, huh? I can just be like, well, it's this. We want the bard icon. And technically, this set doesn't need to know that there is a bard icon. I still don't like this problem of I can't refer to the card directly without a compound key. But yeah, I guess we don't technically need to do this. What we could do is we could, instead of this nonsense, go back to base hero card set. Or we could go to base card set. And then we could instead say something like at export variable card icons. And we could make that a dictionary of string name with a key of texture 2D. Because the card sets we're building in Godot, but just the things referring to this are referring from somewhere else. So I guess if all I need to know the card name is to know some kind of string, this is sufficient, I guess. And that solves my problem for that. If it influences your thoughts at all, even BG3 just uses a string ID for things and looks those up. Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I guess I could do that myself. I could have this, like, if I wanted to save myself some trouble and I didn't want to do a compound key, I could just have a card key, and the card key could literally be something like this, like level 1. I could even have it be a formula. I could even have it be like concat. What is the difference in concat and concatenate? It's arbitrary. Okay. I could even have it be like this. Not quite, but almost. Something like that. What does BG3 know? I just want a single lookup that I can use. Calling this a card key is very funny, but I don't hate this, honestly. I might change it and call it card ID, the card key. Because this is enough information. I just don't want to have to manually combine these and do compound lookups and stuff. I don't mind this. I might do this. And then so card icon, instead of being these UIDs, it'd be, you know, instead it would be card icon. Actually, would I even need to encode this? I guess I should, is what I should do. I could just have it be hard. Because only in this case is it the same as the name. In other cases, it's not the same as the name. So like these ones here, these icons are not the same as the card name. It's just a coincidence. Well, it's not really a coincidence, but remove some runtime complexity. Yeah, I don't. Right now, the card manager does a compound lookup. If it looks for all cards with this name, and then it looks for the card at a specific level, which isn't that bad. That's not that bad. You're gonna lurk and cook? Ooh, nice. Yeah, it's not super normalized, but you know, you don't need that many. You don't need that much. Hey, K-Cug. It's going good. We're messing with our card data. We're trying to simplify it a little bit. There's too many UIDs in our card data here. We're trying to push that stuff down into a lookup. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to have a card icon lookup per card set, which is a little silly, but I think that's what I'm going to do. And then for this anti-res thing, instead of having to do another compound lookup or whatever, we can just compare it to the ID, and we can see if there's a resource that's already been associated with this ID, and then we can reuse it instead of having to directly embed this UID here. I just want to get rid of this stuff. Honestly, though, is card icon just a field I could get rid of? I think it is, honestly. I think it's literally just an alias of the card name. And again, that's not necessarily guaranteed to always be the case, but based on the resources that we have, it kind of is. Yeah, this is just an alias. I'm going to get rid of it. I also don't need this whole full concatenate thing I've got. So we're thinking about adding this card icons dictionary. We'll get rid of this. Oh, that was a mistake, what I just did. It's fine. I think I wiped out a... Yep, I did. That's okay. We'll recreate it. I should probably reverse the order of this. Hey, Arcanos, thank you for the follow. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Party Wipe here. So yeah, these are all going to get changed. So like the equip icon head. So I need to look these all up. So I know what this is, kind of. I guess what I should do is I'll build the list and then I'll figure out which ones go where. And then here we can also have another export variable, which is like card res. Although actually we aren't going to store that here. Somewhere in the game manager, we are going to store a export variable, which will be like, so we have the card catalog. Actually, what we could do, why do you have a card catalog? Oh, it's because... So we have two different versions of this that run. If we're running in the engine, we reload the card catalog, which basically runs... It runs through the card manager, and the card manager saves all of the different card sets that we have. So that's when we pull all the data in from the CSV files. And then if we're running the game normally, what we do is we load this card catalog into the card manager. And it's weird, and we're doing it this way because auto loads can't actually have persistent state. But this node can. So we're saving all of the card data. So we don't even really have a mechanism to load card data outside of the editor time. So I guess it doesn't really matter that I was thinking about doing that because we don't really have a mechanism for doing that. We totally could. But right now, we're taking advantage of the fact that we can run this as a tool script. And then so if we wanted to do a lookup to see whether the card data exists, what we should probably do... So we say card catalog.append array, card manager.save card set. So in save card set, we can get the set data. We append, we go card by card. Well, technically we go line by line in the CSV. Card set.res script.append. Set data. Card set.res script.parse data. So we need to go into the parse data here. So we find the path to the resource. So right now what we're doing is a UID to path function. You know, maybe this is the one time it's okay to have a UID, because they actually are unique. I think I'm going to let this part ride. But I think what we're going to do instead of, like, this part of, like, the resource loader.load thing. I think instead this will be a lookup. But to what? It's not really something we can provide. I guess we're... I don't want to do this UID thing, but honestly, anything else is more complicated, and I don't know if I care anymore. Because I can't actually support the thing I want to change, I want to change the thing to support, then maybe we just don't change it, and I just am just okay. Maybe I just am okay doing it this way for now. It's not great. I don't like it, but maybe we just do it. I still want this ID thing, this compound key thing. Whichever decision results in less new gray hairs. Oh, there's so many of them, Nanigans. Keep the momentum up. Yeah. I'm gonna hate this later, but this will be easy to change later. If I do need to do some kind of... If I do want to do some kind of mod support or anything else, I will need to come up with some way of managing these resources and creating new ones at runtime and bringing in new textures and stuff. And so I do not like this solution, this UID heavy solution. It is like unreadable. But it works. I wanted to change it, but now I think I've convinced myself that it would be better to just not. It would be better to just not. And you know what? The only cost is that I totally, absolutely obliterated this one. Oh, dang good games. If you want to add mod support later, you just need to implement a simple translation partial dictionary. It doesn't seem that simple. Mainly because of some limitations around loading, loading especially images and stuff at runtime. But yeah, I'm gonna let that be a future problem. I feel like there's no reason to change it now if it doesn't enable the thing that we eventually need. Might as well just leave it. And then do a proper implementation later if we get there. Hey, dang good. How's it going? It's going all right. It's going all right. Tried to change something just now. Gave up. Gonna carry on here. Yeah, that's just file management stuff. There'll be the same amount of work to implement later as it would be to implement now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I think waiting and fully implementing it later is better than partially implementing it now. I think we agree. I think we agree on this. So why do I call this anti-res? I should probably just call it card res. I might reuse that later. What have you been doing? I saw your go live notification earlier. How's it going? Okay, so we need to add support for bringing in the card ID, which is a new field, so that we don't have to do this compound key stuff. Yeah, I'm just going to accept that this is kind of rough right now and not worry about it too much. I do need to rebuild this, though. So what's the schema? I need to bring this over here so I can read the schema while we work. How many fields are in this? $31. Okay. don't think this does what I think it does. Nope. You were testing out a new difficulty ramp for the meta portion of the game. Went well. You think if you landed on a ramp that you can stop messing with it for a bit? Oh, nice. That's hard to sort out. Difficulty ramps, I agonize over those endlessly. So that's great. If you were able to come up with something that's good. We were just talking about good enough for now. And I'm not happy with the way the cards are structured right now. I directly invoke a lot of UIDs where I would rather have some kind of lookup. But we realized we couldn't do this in a satisfactory way that would support mods. Now, there'd need to be a lot more work. And so we're putting a pin in that, and I'm going back to the way that it previously worked, and we're just going to carry on with that. So we need to make some cards. We need to make some cards, and we need to reorganize our scenes so that we have more of the progression in mind rather than working in sandboxes. I think I've reached the end of what I can achieve in a sandbox here. But I'm afraid of breaking everything. So I picked an easier task, just to work on cards. I think we're going to do card drafting and character selection. Like, I think... Well, I don't know. I actually don't know. I don't know whether it's worth trying to put that in. I think it is, because that's a core part of at least the beginning of the game, is drafting item cards and stuff and abilities and things. But I also don't know if it matters. I think it would be better, I think for testing purposes, it would be better if we just start people out. But I don't know. I feel like it's easier to explain the game if they go through the process of like seeing their characters be selected and then picking an initial set of starting cards. I feel like that goes a long way to set the expectations of what they're doing. And I feel like if I cut that out, I'm basically like ignoring the opening of the game. And I have a hesitancy around doing that. I have some hesitancy around doing that. Okay, so we set that up. Are you in the list here? Card sets. Oh no. This whole thing got reset. That is unfortunate. Why did that happen? Okay. Cannot load resource. What? There we go. Okay, let's see if this works. So we need to close this and then reopen it. And that should load our cards. CSV file schema mismatch. CSV schema file mismatch where? Oh, I need to download the new data first. So it looks like the equipment came through, but not the weapons or the armor. Let's go here. Good enough for now. Yeah. Agree with that. You have the player pick their starting cards. You feel like even if they're not sure what any of it means at first, the exposure to it early helps them understand where things go. Yeah, that's what I want to do too. Because like in the demo, you can't pick your starting characters because there's just 4 characters out of, 15 or so total. And in the demo, you're just stuck with those starting 4 characters. So you'll see those being selected on like a grid. You'll see that the others are locked. But then I still want the player to go through the process of picking their starting equipment, which is like their armor and their weapons and stuff like that. I don't know if I want them to pick starting abilities. I think that's an interesting question about whether players should be able to pick starting abilities at the beginning of the game, because level 1 characters can't use abilities. They have to be at least level 2. So I don't know if it makes sense to offer players abilities at level 1. Rather than just have them randomly come up. Because you'll get a chance to select cards every time you win an encounter. So I don't know if I want to have that be something that can happen early on, or if I just have that be an encounter thing. And I also don't know, because the way you level up is you play duplicates. You play duplicate cards on top of each other, and that thins your deck because those duplicate cards eventually combine together into one higher level card. I don't know if I also want to allow the player to, like, draw additional copies at the starting point, but I think I do, actually. I think it's good to do this because it's going to force me to make more cards and to think about how those cards, especially item cards that have actions and ability cards, I think it'll force me to make more of those and think about how those are structured and how we work with those. I think that's important. All right, let's download this CSV here. Okay, so I made this a little better in that I made it so that my browser at least asks me where I want to save a card or save something that I'm downloading, so it's at least easier to save it directly into the folder I want to. So that's better. And then somehow the weapon card data changed. Is it because I moved around some of the fields? I think it is. Proficiency required. Should that just be an equip card field? I don't have it currently. So equipment doesn't necessarily have a proficiency requirement at the moment. Maybe it should. Right now I have that baked into the armor and the weapon branches. I guess that's okay. And so for one thing, weapon cards has a damage type. We also need to... So I need a keyword system for my equipment, for my armor and my weapons. And I need a keyword system that, like, can handle, like, you know, for example... Where's the equipment? So, like, this is an old version of the equipment page, but it's like, this is a melee attack. It gives you +2 damage. That damage is piercing, and it has reach. Which here it says reach 2, which I think reach is better thought of as +1 range to melee attack. And so I need like a generic keyword enum system kind of thing. I guess they can be specific to armor and weapons. So, like, armor keywords would be different than weapon keywords. I could also call them tags. I think tags is probably better. So I really want, like... So, like, damage type is something I have here as its own field. But I kind of think... that would be better suited to something else. I like hand requirement, I think makes sense. As a field, but I don't think damage type makes sense as a field. I think that would be something what I want to do is I want to make a new column and I want to call this like weapon tags or something like that. And so, for example, these would move over here. So it's blunt. You would also say something probably like melee. For the melee ones, which I think all of these are melee currently. So this would be like melee blunt, which we can put here. I guess these are all melee. They're not all blunt. So we'd have melee, we'd have pierce. And then not only would we have melee and pierce, but this is a spear, so this could also have reach. This is kind of how I want to build the tagging. So we would also need to list the like action cost. So yeah, we'd get rid of the damage type column. Hand requirement is fine. We'd have the weapon tags. We also need something like... I wonder if these are better suited to be called action tags than weapon tags, but... I'm gonna have a really hard time if I decide to have items that have like multiple different actions or something. But you could see some indirect cool things. Like, you could have an ability, let's say the priest or the cleric has like a holy light ability, which will like heal players, but if you use it against undead, it like could damage them. And I don't know how I would represent that necessarily. But you could imagine something where it's like, I would add a tag of like living versus undead or something like that. And if you're living, light damage actually heals you. But if you're undead, light damage like hurts you or something. You could imagine some cool stuff where, so that way we don't have to have like, oh, your holy light is sometimes an attack and sometimes it's like healing. Hey, Rhiannon, you're so late to the stream. No, it's all right. This is a slow one. We're working on cards today. We're working on cards today, and the stuff we did for the first half of the stream, we even rolled back. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. So yeah, I don't know what I think I want to call these action tags maybe instead of weapon tags. But maybe they're not action related. Yeah, because I need to distinguish between tags that affect the action and tags that are just like passive things. Because you could be like, you could imagine I have like a necklace that's like, oh, this necklace passively increases your fire resistance or something. But you're like, but you could also give an action to the necklace, which is like, oh, you could use this necklace to reset your action counter or something, or I don't know, whatever. I don't know, that would be OP, but you know, something like that. So maybe I need active or passive tags. So these could be like the active tags. And we could have like a has action thing. Which I may or may not need, because has action might just be like, is there anything in the active tags thing? And you could specify things like attack, melee, blunt. So you could be like, oh, this action is an attack. So I don't know if has action is required, because I think the fact that you'd have active tags means that there is an action. probably want something like an action cost. As a separate field. Yeah, actions is really the last big area that I'm just like, I don't know. These probably all cost 1. This is probably how I'd represent simple stuff. I don't like action. I kind of don't want to include passive tags. Not really. But maybe I should. I probably should. Because you can imagine, like, some of these providing you some different things. Yeah, I think distinguishing active and passive is good. It's probably a good start. Real question is, does any of these armor... I mean, none of these armor things have actions, but they probably need the capacity to have actions. I think I'm gonna put a Boolean just to make my life easier. Instead of being like, oh, are there any tags? And then we could have a similar set that's like has passive. We could say, well, there's no passive cost, but what we could do is, well, actually there might be a passive cost. Yeah, but maybe I want to represent that differently. Like, you could totally imagine that you have that a kite shield reduces your movement by 1 or something like that. But I could invoke that with tags. Like, we could say heavy or something like that for an action, and that means you can only use that weapon like once or something like that. Like, a maul is maybe heavy. And so even if you have 2 actions, maybe you can't attack with the maul twice or something like that. That would be kind of cool. Like the shield should also have like a push tag, so it like pushes enemies in a direction or something. And then like the maul could be like heavy. We could decide what heavy means. I think that's okay. So for right now, I'll probably set these to be not true, or this to be false. All right, I think that's okay for now for weapons. I think armor, I don't have any ideas, but I think I'm going to give it the same stuff here. So we have an equipment slot. We have a proficiency requirement. What we want is has action associated with it. We have an action cost associated with it. Action tags, active tags, I don't know. I was looking at a video about TTRPGs and how to like build weapons in TTRPGs, and the modular tag-based approach seems really slick. So I was like, oh, I'll use that. That seems good. Yeah. I don't know how much I love building cards this way, but hopefully it does help for later on. We're going to need to start thinking about abilities. And abilities, I am kind of agonizing over. I need to think of some. I need to brainstorm some. This seems fine. We're going to say false for all of these. These should have passives, though. But yeah, I'm gonna make my life easier. So passives for these should be like armor based. So like a cuirass, you could think of something. It's like so should I have some of this stuff separately or put it into a tag? Is my question. Detective Cactus. Is it data driven? I'm not quite sure what you mean. But welcome in. So like I could express the cost of an action in the tag. I could be like cost 2. And so same with the passives. I could be like defense 1, HP 4 or something like that. Or I could express things separately. So I think I'm going to just do that. I think I'm going to get rid of this action cost column. And we're going to say like attack. We're going to say like cost 1. Do like this. Actually, this is not clear what I mean, is it? So an active tag. Like what if using an action doesn't cost actions? What if it cost like health or something? I guess I could have a tag that changes the cost, what the cost means. There's going to be a lot of implied meaning here for now, until I think of a better way to represent these things, but I think this will be okay. You mean the cards, are they? The thing that I don't understand is what makes a card data driven versus not data driven. If you could elucidate the distinction in your mind. The reason we're doing this in a spreadsheet is so to make things like balance and stuff easier. It's going to be harder if we set these up as tags, admittedly. Like, honestly, the doing this in a spreadsheet is not as great as I'd hoped it would be because I'm realizing that a lot of the stat block stuff, especially for items, is going to be represented in tags, which is not as easy to... I guess it's fine because we can just do a search for a place if we need to. So then here we can say something like defense 1. Do we do plus? I don't know. Actually, is that what I should do instead of cost 1? Should I say something like act -1? Because you could totally have abilities that like increase your actions count. So, but maybe that would be a special thing. Maybe have a unit attached to the cost. Yeah, that's what I'm not sure. It's one of the many reasons you're building a custom tool. Have you looked at the plugin Edit Resources as Table 2? No, I did not. See ya. Sounds cool. We'll go take a look. Yeah, I'm like more and more on the side of like, why am I doing this as a spreadsheet? I could just do it as like a big resource, but it seemed smart at the time to do it as a spreadsheet. And I think there are good reasons to do it as a spreadsheet. Edit resources as table 2. Plugin for Godot 3 and now 4. It adds a tab for editing folders of resources as data tables. Oh, this is pretty slick. I think if I decided to do this as resources, I think this is how I would want to do it. CSV tables support import, export, or edit directly. Yeah, I've never made a card game, so that's why we're... This is pretty slick. I could kind of have both, which is pretty neat. I might look at this. I might look at doing that, using this. This seems pretty cool. Because I realize the way that I'm structuring this is not the best. Or it's not, I'm not going to have all the advantages I'd hoped I would have. So yeah, so this would be like defense +1 or something. Do I need to use underscores? I don't know if I need to use underscores. These could all be like defense +1. You know. 1 is pretty weak sauce for metal armor, but so this would probably need to be 2 or 3. Tuning the numbers is going to be hard, and I'd hoped to set them as different columns, but we could split out the fields as cells. But then the real question is, like, is that just for the passive effects? Is that for the active effects? I kind of like a more open-ended approach. But I don't know. The fact that it all needs to be whole numbers is also a little rough. The values don't matter right now, though. We're just plugging in arbitrary values. I think 2s or 3s are okay for metal, because what we could do with cloth is we could give different effects. Like, maybe the reason you wear cloth armor is different than actually providing armor. Like, maybe there's more resistances or stats or other things. And we could also go heavy. So, like, We could say something like every 2 pieces of heavy equipment like reduces your movement by 1 or something like that. We could do different things. It's a lot of columns if I had like active HP, passive HP. Yeah, I don't want to do that. But parsing these tags thing is cool, but it does take a lot of the joy out of doing this in a spreadsheet. It does. It does take a lot of the joy out of it, and I'm kind of tempted to go back to just using resources, since I already have resources for all of them anyway. And that edit resources as tables thing is pretty neat. We might look at that, because I'm actually less thrilled about this card data spreadsheet thing than I was originally, especially because half of it is just invoking UIDs for resources for like certain like textures and stuff. But if they're just resources, then it's embedded. And then if we do modding, we can set up the modding to be working more directly on resources anyway. I mean, there's some exceptions that would be, they'd become dictionaries and stuff, and that'd be fine. It would certainly make it would certainly make serializing the card data a lot easier. It would also make tracking changes to cards a lot easier. Well, not easier, but it would make it a lot clearer. Yeah, I'm actually less sold. There's a couple exceptions, which is like things like unit stat blocks, which are easier to do in a spreadsheet. I kind of like this idea of heavy armor reducing your movement past a certain point, but that'd be interesting. And just stack effects. If you did it as resources, you'd probably have a dynamic array of effects that can act on any stat by any amount. Yeah. I have to think about that. Hey, Nix. How's it going? Thanks for the hydrate. Hey, the Rock Mage. Thank you for the follow. I'm sorry I missed that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm less thrilled about this than I thought I would be. You gotta make a data-driven game at some point. It's fun. It's fun. I liked doing a more simulation-heavy thing. And I have a system for doing it, right? With my like ECS and everything. This is not that game, but yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm having thoughts. Having thoughts about this. That table thing was cool. There isn't really like a star system for this stuff, is there? Like, my options are to download it or to not. Let's view the files. Last commit was 6 months ago, which is not great. What version does it support? This is cool, though. Like, it's got a tagging system, which is kind of what I want. I might have to try this. This plugin was briefly covered on the YAML talk. Yeah, I thought I'd heard of it before. I feel like this wouldn't be that hard to do even without this. I feel like our card stuff would be kind of not that bad, especially with there's an up-to-date project here. Ooh, okay. Yard Godot. All right, let's check it out. Appreciate it. See ya. Yard is an editor plugin for Godot to manage resources and query them at runtime with the table view and the editor as the cherry on top. 2 weeks ago, that's pretty good. They just they just set up some kind of licensing thing. Yet another resource database. Love that. Godot format plugin. It's 4.5 plus. It's pretty good. That's what I was looking for. I don't know what this one supports, but it doesn't seem clear. It says it's 4, but it was built in 3, so I'm sure it's like awkward. Okay, auto update to 4.4. That's good. It was last year. So. This looks promising. Table-based resource editor. The yard editor tab lets you create and manage registries, catalogs of resources, optionally restricted to a class. Ooh. Because we have specific classes for our different card types. Each registry provides a spreadsheet-like view of your resources and their properties. A lightweight runtime API. A runtime registry is just a small .tres file holding UIDs and string IDs. Oh, that's basically how we're relating these anyway. It's only the mapping, never the resources themselves. When it's talking about runtime, I assume it's like if I was using these as like tool scripts or something. Or is it, or they want me to use like their registry system? This is for like loading resources. So this would be for like loading cards maybe, or loading resources for cards. Oh, is this loading it into the runtime part of this? I don't totally understand what the utility of that is, but I could see it. If you had like a stock market game or like a commodities trading game or something, I could see you using this in the game itself. Can I link it to the Discord? You might check it out yourself later. Yeah, please do. This looks good. Yeah, no, I feel that, LSG. And query across multiple properties. For a forest without boss. Rooms where? Biome, biome.forest, tier. Oh, shit. This could help me with storing the data structures for encounters as well. So I could be like, give me a forest encounter with this challenge rating or something. That's pretty cool. Oh, yeah, same with this. Of like, give me a card with this rarity. This is pretty slick. I might check this out actually, because yeah, I'm not feeling the spreadsheet approach right now. Just because of the way I'm thinking about and describing my cards. Also, I don't know what the reuse specification for licensing is, so I guess I should look at that. So this has MIT and CC01. To read about what that means. It's not a problem. Those are very permissive licenses. Both of them. So I don't think it really matters which one applies. Well, hold on a second. I don't know. I have to look at that more. But this seems useful. Yeah. It should be fine. I'm not that worried about it. I don't know what the reuse specification is. This is tempting. This is very tempting. Yeah, I'm gonna look at that later. It was nice to be able to just load up my cards from this data, but it seems like not the thing we're gonna want to do in the long run. It just seems like it seems like what we would want to do is to have more control over the tags and stuff. But you know, Sheets being what it is, it's not really. You like that you can filter on enum values? Yeah, it seems good in terms of most of the meat of our cards is in that tag or keyword area. And from a spreadsheet standpoint, that's not very useful or manageable because Sheets doesn't really understand what that means. But if we can break that out into a system that actually understands the different tags, and it just happens to be that those tags are stored in like a list somewhere on the back end, and that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I might mess with that. I might mess with that. That's another thing that's going to slow us down, but honestly, I need to pick what I'm going to do before we build the rest of these cards. And I don't like that I've just offloaded a lot of UID stuff. So like here I have all of our cards already just stored like this. And so this is a sensible way to store it because it's just, you can see the resources. You can see kind of what's wrong, like the fact that this isn't opening up any of that stuff. Seeing this in a table or something that's searchable where I could be like, oh, who has, you know, show me everyone who has leather armor proficiency or whatever, right? Like that's pretty slick. It's pretty slick. I'd be interested in how that manages. I guess the query you would need to restrict the query, or not restrict the query. I'm gonna try it. We're gonna try it. Not at this exact moment, but we're gonna try it. What we do need to do though is, so the card, so I do have to just fix this though for now. I have to at least fix what we've currently got. But I'm tempted. I'm very tempted. All right, what's the problem now? Anti-res, equipment ability, icon offhand. So the proficiency armor, proficiency weapon. So there's still a problem with the problem with the weapon data. There's a problem with the hero data. The armor data seems to be fine. Oh, no, the hero stuff came through eventually. Did it all come through? Hero, armor. No, the weapons didn't come through. Okay. So what I need to do is I need to download this weapon data. Yeah, I think this was good. I think we're gonna try it. Instead of doing this whole nonsense. Cause yeah, the way I sync up the data is really janky. What I do need to do before I do this, unfortunately, is I need to go in here, I need to go into the base weapon set, and I need to update the file schema to be correct. I'm gonna move this over here so I can read the schema. Notice how I'm continuing to find things to do that's not like the actual real work that really needs to be done. Card icon, card level, card name. Card ID is a thing now. I probably should have added that. Oh, is that even represented here in the hero card? set. Card ID, yeah, it is represented. So we've got equip slot, proficiency required, hand required. So I've gotten rid of damage type, and instead we have added has action. I might not even need that if we do it this way. We'll see. This will be interesting. Active tags. As passive. Passive tags. What about armor? Probably need to rewrite the armor. I mean, I guess I don't yet because I haven't moved it over. Let's see how this goes. Oh, absolutely broken. Valid assignment of property key. Oh, right. This expects a damage type and doesn't get it. All right, card loaded. Why are there 75? Oh, because that's the number of debug lines, not the number of cards. Successfully saved all of these. That's good. Yeah. Okay. All right, we should probably do some real work now. Rather than just me fucking around with hard data. So what I want to do is I want to rebuild this sequence to actually... I actually want to get the player into the real sequence of events that they're going to see. Which is a bit annoying, because it means I need to make some more things. Real work. I know, it's awful, LSG. I'm going to do something tonight, which should be fun. I'm going to like collage up. I have a composition in my head for the capsule art. And my artist has some free time. So I'm going to try to work that out. You know, I am going to need to figure out some mechanism for storing tile map data. I don't want to build a tool. I really don't want to build a tool. But because we're not going to save the whole map, like we're not going to have just a folder just full of like actual scenes with map data. We just want the map data as a thing that we can serialize and deserialize. I do need some way of drawing these things and then storing them out. That shouldn't be that hard, actually. That's probably can just be one tool script. It can be just probably a tool script and a tile map layer. Might do a mock-up of your capsule art in Blender soon. You're gonna get it professionally painted, but you have an idea of what you want. Yeah, having an idea is a good start. It's a good start. I need to do that. I think I'm gonna do that tonight. and like watch a movie or something. I kind of want to watch The Green Knight. I haven't seen it. Why is this square darker? Is it because of the extra layer of black tiles? Doesn't totally make sense. Might get away with the whole thing in Blender. Oh, yeah, maybe. You're gonna get the Banjo-Kazooie box art. That's an interesting inspiration. Yeah, I thought at first that what I could do is I could just put the player into a series of combat encounters without showing them the cards or having them do any of the drafting and stuff. And I realized that's not good. I mean, I should just have a button which just lets you randomly draft equipment or whatever, like start with a random deck. So you don't have to spend the time drafting. But yeah, we were talking about it earlier, and it's really about familiarizing yourself with the cards. And so maybe it would be a good idea to allow you to draft abilities. Even if you can't deploy them right away. Just so, because in your head, you'll start to be like, oh, I see, this character has this ability has the ability to do these things. Which is useful. You're aiming for an N64 collectathon vibe, and especially Banjo-Kazooie for the playfulness. That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, I need to mock up like a tavern scene, because there's going to be a tavern where the game starts. And that's where you're going to pick things like your characters. I'm going to have them be around the tavern. And maybe I'll have... I mean, what you should do at some point is have just a grid of all the cards. I don't know if I have room for 4x4 grid. I think I have to do 8x2. But I do think I kind of want them... I guess what I should do is have them appear in the tavern once you've unlocked them or something. That'd be kind of cool. It's a little shitty because we are going to lock it for the demo. But I do kind of want you to see how many characters there will be. So we'll probably have something where it's like, choose your characters, and it will show that 8x2 grid of the 16 character slots. Really 15 characters plus 1 slot for randomization. Actually, they don't really need to be cards, do they? Because they could just be icons. I kind of like if they're cards. Just make the other characters too drunk to go on an adventure. Well, you're not going to know that you can play with all of the characters right away. Oh man, I really want to add a dot maybe to the inner part of this. I don't know that I love that it's just blank here. Kind of want to add something to it. Oh, but it would be a dot either way, wouldn't it? It wouldn't actually change. Yeah. It looks a little weird not having a corner, anything in the corner there. I mean, I arguably should not start with that scene. I arguably should not start with the character select screen, because we do still need to figure out some other stuff. I should arguably just start with the first encounter. But to do that, I need all 4 of your starting characters. Which is why we were working on cards, because I was like, I need to actually make those cards, which I guess I have. They're just not in the starting deck yet. So I essentially need to make the starting deck, and that's why I was like, well, if we're making the starting deck, shouldn't the character be able to choose the starting deck? And it's like, yes. It's not really what I want to test right now. What I do need to do is figure out a little tool script so that we can draw these maps. And maybe not just draw the maps, but also put characters in the scene. I don't really want to make a whole scenario editor, but what I need to do is be able to put some character figures in here and set up and draw out the scene, and then save that tile map data out along with maybe the character configuration. Unless the character configuration is going to be random, which I guess we could start with that. We can start with random character configuration. That's probably better. I think at one point I might want to manually place enemies, but I think it's maybe fine. What you want to do is you want to define the difficulty of an encounter. And so that'll be some amount of characters that are placed on the first round, and then some amount of characters that come through like doorways and stuff on the following rounds. We could do some kind of countdown on the entryways too. If you want to give the character, actually, we probably don't want to give the player that much heads up. We would just have characters show up in the entryway at the beginning of the turn, and then if you don't do anything about them, they come into the room on the next turn. Probably what we'll do. And then that limits your ability to summon reinforcements too, because that's how your reinforcements are going to get on the board, with like through doorways and stuff. So yeah, I need to make some more maps. I do want to draw that tavern. Which I haven't really done. I guess I have to decide whether I want the tavern. So like, what's the UI look like when, you know, when you're at the character select part? Anything about that too? Like, none of this stuff makes sense. Like, the turn order thing doesn't make sense. The hostile opponents thing would probably be replaced with like an NPC roster or something. Like, none of this stuff of the UI makes any sense. The deck one makes some sense, because you would want to review your deck as you're drafting cards. And I kind of need a better way for this to work as well. I guess I need to mock that up, what I want that character select phase to look like. But yeah, I guess I don't need to start with that. I could just start with some random encounters just so we can do some testing. So what if I went to the starting deck? Starting deck. And I started adding some new characters to this. Couple of bards. a couple of rangers. I think when you pick a character, you get one copy of their card, and then you need to draft additional copies if you want more copies. Which you do want more copies. Wizard. Yeah, I'm coming around to this idea of working directly in resources rather than trying to do the spreadsheet stuff. All right, let's see if the game even works with multiple characters to deploy. Oh, it's our ranger. That's neat. Oh, it shows a knight. Well, that's not dynamic. That's important. Oh, our ranger has more movement than the knight. Neat. Our ranger maybe has too much movement. Maybe not. Well, the roster tab is not being updated, which is a problem. Why is that? Well, for one thing, these are hard-coded, which is fine. But for another thing, we actually need to set these. So we don't do anything on the ready function. We have load from res. So card res. Unit res equals card res. Card icon dot texture equals unit res dot card icon. Card name dot text equals unit res dot card name. Level set unit res dot card level set. It looks like we're doing it, but is no one's probably calling this function, which would be done here on token added. Party tabs dot add child. Party tab dot unit res equals card res. Yeah, what we would want to do is we'd say party tab dot load from. You want me to actually load the card res, or you want me to actually want me to plug in this card res? That part's not what we want to do. Actually, that would be okay, wouldn't it? So instead of unit.unitReady equals card res as unit card res, instead we would say party tab dot load from res card res. Is that the only time we do this? That should be fine. Okay, we have a bard and a wizard. Let's crash. Invalid key assignment texture of Atlas tank on base object of type nil. Oh, we have to do that after the. We should do that after we add it to the tree. That's fine. All right, we got a few characters here. So we have a bard. Here's our bard. Okay, we're setting the tab correctly. We'll load a ranger too, and a wizard. So what's gonna happen on a new combat? All of your characters that are still alive are gonna be already on the board. We'll just randomly place them somewhere, and you'll have like a turn to reposition them within the deployment area. Which is a very small deployment area, admittedly. And then what if I want to start equipping stuff? Are we using the... Okay, that looks correct. All of the tabs and stuff are correct. And the movement. So the wizard can't really move very quickly. Ranger can move crazy fast. Bards is okay. All of their icons are loading correctly. That's good. That's good. So if I try to equip this sword, who can have a sword? Well, that's a terrible example because everyone can have a sword. Cuirass, nobody can equip a cuirass. Shield, nobody can equip a shield. Okay, the item... So if I want to play another wizard card, I have to play it on this wizard. That updates their tab. Okay, well, it looks like the systems magically work for multiple characters, which is good. We never actually tested that. Chip ball, nobody can use. This is why we have to make the rest of the cards. I pretty much only have knight equipment. Don't ask me again. Spear. Yeah, the ranger can have a spear. Here you go, ranger. Got your spear. We could also deploy the knight. So the knight and the wizard, or the knight and the ranger, can have the spear. So we'd want to play the spear on the ranger because that would level up. You know what I should do when I do this is it should pop up and show you the icons of the weapon that they already have equipped. Is probably what it should do. Because right now, if I have this, unless I remember that the ranger already has the spear, I have to go look. So this would probably be a neat thing to do. But yeah, the highlighting around multiple characters seems to be working nicely. The single diagonal is also working nicely. We're highlighting the correct characters for things. Love it when stuff just works. Yeah, I mean, well, we did playing around it. So like the sword, can everyone have a sword? Everyone can have a sword. I let wizards have swords, mainly because of Gandalf. Blame Gandalf for that one. Yeah, we need to make some more cards. See Shenanigans, looking cool. Good start to the gameplay loop. Oh, well. That's what we need to start. We're like we're dipping our toes in the kiddie pool here, like at the shallow end of the pool here, and we really gotta get in there. Will this let me move? So it won't let me move there. Yeah, neat. Okay. Cool. And I can't really path around. Oh, that's effed up. Oh, wait. No, yeah, okay. So yeah, the obstacle. We're still not handling that correctly. -2. Yeah, we need to handle obstacles better, which is to say we need to like flood fill the movement area so we can actually detect obstacles, like real obstacles. These are our characters, and there's them on the board. They all pop pretty well against the background, which is good to see. They each have their own, color identity, which is also good to see. Oh, the highlighting should be specific to the character we're dropping the thing on. If we're going to do that, I see that now. I see the problem with that now. Yeah, we got some good stuff to work on. These swords won't go away. Still don't like what I've done to the character sheet. I'm gonna figure out something else to do. Maybe it would be good to just kill this negative space and just move some of the items up. I can also flip this so that it's not the tall thing, so that it's like I could flip this hexagon to be the other way around. What would that look like? You'd probably have the helmet and the jewelry on one spot. No, that doesn't really work. Then the boots have something next to them. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like this. Okay, plenty to do. Let's do that one little thing I said about, oh, also, this needs to clear if I select. So now it's like, oh, look, you've selected all these different characters. Okay, well, it's a good thing I've found some little bugs, because again, I'm like overwhelmed with stuff to work on. I don't want to work on the big thing, so let's fix some of these little things. So the selection thing needs to be reset whenever we select a new character. I think if we drag out an item, it should show, for anyone who can equip that item, it should show whatever item they've currently got equipped in that slot. I think that would be neat. Is there an easy way to do that? I actually don't know if there's an easy way to do that. It's so daunting to finally move from sandboxing to drilling into gameplay. Yeah, it really is. It really is, but we need to do it because there's nothing more we can really learn from sandboxing. We really need to get this thing playable as soon as possible. And there's some major things in the way. The really big one, besides actions, the really big one is AI. Character enemy AI. Which I looked at how Into the Breach does it, and I'm gonna just do it the way they do it, and it doesn't look that bad, but it doesn't seem that bad to implement the most naive version of like the Into the Breach enemy AI, but it's still a lot. I'm just so tired. I'm trying to cut down at my hours at work a little bit. Hopefully I'll have an okay time because my boss is out of town this week. That means I should be able to just do what I need to do and get out of there, but I'm still so tired. For you, you just over caffeinate. How long until in-person playtest? Basically a month. Actually less than a month. Yeah, a little less than 4 weeks. It seems borderline undoable, but we're gonna try. Try really hard. Time moves very fast. So can I do this with my card token system? Can I like preview these items? How would I do that? Actually, instead of doing that, what I could just do... We could just have the character sheet open. Oh yeah, it does that. Why... Well, no, it doesn't do that, does it? Oh yeah, it's supposed to. Why did it not do that? Oh. It's not doing it when there's more than one character. That's interesting. Oh, because it can't tell who is the one. Well, that's dumb. No, that should be doable. Why is that not happening? All right, card token. That's another card token added thing, isn't there? I probably didn't think that was going to work with multiple characters. So that would be if card res is either of these. So it's if selected character. Oh, so it's like we're not changing that. Oh, no, no, that's unselecting the character. Preview equip card. If selected character and selected character dot character res dot proficiency weapon has the requirement. You're starting to feel the crunch too. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to do. You just keep moving. We just try to keep moving. So why does this work with one character but not more than one character? That's the thing I don't totally understand. We got this unselected. You're not the selected character anymore. Put a bunch of you out. Why not? So we can get that sword. Here we go. So you can all have a sword. Yeah, it doesn't show. But if we do that again and we only put one character out, doesn't really matter who. Well, it shouldn't have been that one. Luckily, we have an undo button. Yeah, so you work totally fine. You don't need to be the selected character. That just happens. But if there's two characters for some reason... Oh, we need to find a weapon that you can both wield. Sword. Yeah, the sword is going to need to be really boring. And so many characters can use it. So yeah, why doesn't that work? What's different about this branch? So if card res is a weapon card res, party character in character sheet dot find values, party character. 4 party characters dot append proficiency characters. Proficiency characters 0. Character sheet open, proficiency characters 0. Select a character in blah blah blah. Oh. If proficient characters dot size is 1. This is stupid. I don't need a whole list of the characters. Just ask if the character on that tile has the proficiency. This is stupid. Let's not do any of whatever this is. Instead, what we'll do is we'll say, if character sheet by tile dot has card token dot tile and if character sheet by tile for card token dot tile dot proficiency weapon dot has card res dot proficiency required. Then we can do these things. We can say character sheet dot open. We can say This guy. We can say variable preview character sheet equals that. Let's see. Sheet highlight dot visible equals false. Wait, why is sheet highlight dot visible equals false? I don't understand that. Let's say character sheet open. Let's say preview character. Actually, maybe that's fine. Let's say this. You can preview it and then open it, maybe? Is that fine? All right, let's see if that works. That should work. We should be able to preview whatever character. Ranger, can I have a spear? Oh, well, now it's not even opening at all. Well. Nah, it's fine. I'm not set. There's something I'm not setting. Either I'm not maintaining character sheet by tile, or the card token is not keeping track of its tile. Card res is weapon card res. Some piece of data is not, it's not being maintained. Get that knight out here. 3-3, okay, that's right. What if I put this guy out here? 2-5, okay. See, it's possible I'm just not maintaining. I'll just print this value. If it's false, we know we're just not maintaining that dictionary correctly. Very likely. False, yeah. False. Okay, yeah. So we're just not doing that correctly, which is not great. Character sheet by name. Okay, we aren't doing that in the deserialize step either. Let's look at card token spent. Character sheet by name dot set. Yeah, we need to say character sheet by tile dot set. Card name. Card token dot tile. Well, we're gonna need to. We're gonna need to also set that when we move, but let's get the deserialize working. So when we deserialize, we also need to say character sheet by tile, character name equals. I know the tile. How do I know your tile? Because that's a conundrum. You keep track of this sort of thing? I don't think so. Maybe you do. Somehow I doubt it. Oh, that's a conundrum. Oh. This needs to be a to-do. We serialize the character sheets position sheet file at least we can set it here. Wizard, sword, false, error. Attempted to set a variable of string name into a dictionary of vector 2i. What? Oh, I did that in the wrong order. It's character sheet by tile set card token dot tile. Card name. You know, I probably shouldn't have this. This should probably be like an environment map thing or a character manager thing so that we can actually scrutinize the environment map rather than just blindly trying to maintain this in the party roster. Probably the wrong place to be tracking this because it doesn't actually have direct information about any of that. But you know, for now, we're just going to do it just so that it works. False. What's wrong now? Attempted to set variable type string. Oh. I don't even read. I don't even read what my data structures are built to do. Don't even read. I'm too used to statically typed languages where it's just like, don't worry about it. Don't even worry. Crash. Okay. If character sheet by tile inactive. So how is this supposed to work otherwise? It's the character res. Oh, yeah, duh. Res. Yeah, I think I'm gonna hide this stuff behind a character manager. I think I'm kind of sick of trying to do it this way. Okay, that worked for one character. Will it work for two characters? Yes. Okay, that's good. And then if I go to the next, although what in the absolute F? Wait, why did that? What? So Bard, okay. Knight, not okay. Bard, Knight. We're not closing the character sheet. Knight, Bard. We need to unselect the character when we free the card token. Card is hero res, L if it's an equip, if selected character. Oh, yeah, we need to do all of this. Set character sheet by name, update display. We need to say that. We also need to say, we need to do this whole thing. Character sheet close. We just need to close the character sheet. All right, we got a knight. And we've got a sword. Okay. And then we got out a bard. Still got our sword. Bard. Knight. Bard. Knight. And then now... And now if I bring out another weapon... Okay, now it's not... It's not showing what's already there. That's annoying. That's fine. I can add that logic. We're out of time today, though, but this is good. I'm glad we at least got multiple characters in there because they showed some errors. I guess there were some, some more things we could learn from our sandbox, which is always helpful. But yeah, we gotta move on. Eventually, we gotta get these characters doing things and playing the game. We gotta get the game loop going. Hey, Quids Quests, thanks for the follow there. Let's find someone to raid. We gotta pay it forward. Anytime we get raided into, we gotta raid out. too many people streaming right now. Adagon is. Head in there. Like a good. I always love a good Adagon raid. I don't know why hardly anyone is streaming right now. Yeah, thank you, LSG, for hanging out today. Thanks, everyone. Anyone who came in from the raids, thanks for sticking around. Anyone who's here just normally, thanks for coming out here with anyone without anyone having to send you here. Appreciate that too. We will be back tomorrow. We'll probably fix some stuff. Work on maybe a tavern scene or something, or start reorienting our a scene manager so that we can pop through these different scenes. Figure out some way of designing and saving different maps. All sorts of stuff. There's so many things to do. We are really spoiled for choice in terms of things to work on. But yeah, we're gonna look at maybe using one of those plugins for managing large numbers of resources instead of doing this CSV style thing. So yeah, appreciate people. I think Sia was the one that told us about that stuff. So very cool. We're gonna check some of that stuff out. But yeah, thanks all so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.